The crucial past and background of Osha Aniseya Amandla Stenberg and her twin sister Mae are revealed in the Acolyte Episode 3. As part of a test from her master, who appears to be a Sith Lord, Mae has killed 2 Jedi so far in the new Star Wars series, and as a result, she is now considered a wanted fugitive by the Jedi. In order to confront her long-lost sister, who was thought to have passed away some time ago, her twin sister Osha has returned to the Jedi Order. Their shared past as kids is now revealed in the Acolyte Episode 3. Osha reunites with her former master, Sol Li-Yung-Yi, prior to her decision to leave the Jedi Order, while the Acolyte unravels a complex mystery surrounding the possible resurgence of the Sith with Mae's new master. The story takes place in the High Republic era, 100 years prior to the events of the Phantom Menace. Because of this, the 3rd episode of The Acolyte is highly important since it discloses the shared past of Osha and Mae and how their beginnings impact the entire Star Wars canon. Osha and Mae are the daughters of Koril, a Zabrak, and Mother Aniseya Jodie Turner-Smith, the Coven's leader, and were raised by a coven of Force-using witches on Brendok. This new Force cult in The Acolyte, banished and feared for their unusual gifts, was determined to hide Osha and Mae's existence from everyone else in the galaxy, especially from the Jedi Order and its knights stationed nearby on Earth. On the night that Osha and Mae would be formally welcomed into their coven, Masters Sol, Indara, Kelnaka, and Torben were made aware of the girl's existence. After being tested, Osha expressed interest in becoming a Jedi instead of a witch because she was unsure about becoming a witch. Mae became enraged by this and darkly threatened to kill Osha rather than allow her to go. Osha escaped to discover their entire compound on the verge of destruction after Mae locked them in their room and started a fire. Mae appeared to have died, but Osha was saved by Jedi Master Sol and taken to undergo Jedi training after her coven collapsed. But Osha was informed that the coven's demise was due only to Mae's fire. Osha eventually left the Jedi Order because she was unable to reconcile her grief and rage, only to be brought back in the current episodes of The Acolyte. Prior to the Jedi clearing her name and learning that Mae was still alive, Osha had been their target. Mae, who appears to be working for a Sith Master, has already killed Indara and Torben by the end of The Acolyte Episode 2, and she is now on a mission of vengeance against the Jedi who were on Brendok. On the other hand, there are some significant revelations about Osha and Mae's conception that are exclusive to the Star Wars canon in the Acolyte Episode 3. The 3rd episode of The Acolyte also discloses Osha and Mae's non-traditional birth story. At the Ascension ceremony, Aniseya discloses that Osha and Mae were fatherless. Rather, they were carried in Koril's pre-existing womb, having been created by Aniseya's power via the Force. It is heavily hinted at that Aniseya's power is the same as that of Darth Plagueis the Wise, the Sith master of Darth Sidious Palpatine, despite the fact that many view their ability to create life as unnatural. Therefore, it is implied that Plagueis has already learned, or will soon learn, how to persuade the midi-chlorians to produce life through this coven of witches. However, it's crucial to understand that this is not a case of a previous Chosen One prophecy that was fulfilled prior to Anakin Skywalker's birth. All it is the history and beginnings of Darth Plagueis' ability to control the midi-chlorians and bring about life. Ultimately, the theory that Anakin's conception was caused by Plagueis or Palpatine is merely a theory, and George Lucas revised his mind after reading early drafts of Revenge of the Sith. Similarly, the 3rd episode of The Acolyte implies that this Force power is exclusive to female creation. Nevertheless, it seems highly likely that Osha and Mae will ultimately be exposed as a Force dyad. A Force dyad is an exceptional and irreversible link that unites 2 beings as one in the Force, as demonstrated by Rey Skywalker and Kylo Ren in the sequel trilogy. The bond was exceedingly strong and uncommon, frequently uniting the Force's light and dark sides. As a result, the rhyme, always one, but born as two, that the Coven tells and that Osha and Mae repeat in The Acolyte seems very much like it could be related to the idea of the Force dyad as a whole. They aren't being forced back together in a way that could cause the lines between them to become more hazy when they start to come together again, even though their paths diverge and the light and dark, respectively, predominate. Because of this, it seems very likely that Mae and Osha are a dyad in the Force. Mother Aniseya's capacity to create life is undoubtedly how Sith, such as Darth Plagueis, acquired the ability to do so via the Force. It connects me and Osha's ancestry to the Sith Lord's legacy on an intrinsic level. The Sith may also find great value in their potential as a Force dyad. Ultimately, it is canonical that successive Sith Lords aim to create a dyad in order to acquire increased power. Thus, in the current episodes of The Acolyte, this enigmatic, helmeted Sith Lord whose true identity is still unknown may have as his mission to figure out how to use both me and Osha